Good day everyone, I am Antoinette G. Batiigas. For today, we going to tackle the Guide 9, Edgar Dale and the Cone Experience. Before I start, this topic it includes the background, influence, learning experiential environment, and the final remarks. And now let's start with the short introduction of Edgar Dale and the Cone Experience. Edgar Dale is an extraordinary educational technology pioneer, and he is perhaps remembered for his often misinterpreted cone of experience. Next, Dale made significant contributions as evidenced by just a few of the titles in many books he wrote during his long lifespan on 1900 to 1988, including How to Appreciate Motion Pictures on 1933, then Teaching with Motion Pictures on 1937, and How to Read a Newspaper on 1941, and among others. And let's proceed to the background. Edgar Dale's work continues to influence educational technologists in the 21st century. Also, Dale grew up on North Dakota farm, and according to Warner on 1970, he retained the no-nonsense thinking habits and strong work ethic. Next, Dale earned both his master and bachelor degree at the University of North Dakota, and then in 1929, Dale completed a PhD or the doctorate at the University of Chicago, and then joined the Eastman Kodak Company, where he collaborated on some of the earliest studies of learning from film. And then, the last, Edgar Dale mentored as an outstanding cadre of doctoral students during his long role as a professor of Ohio State University on 1929 to 1978. In addition, there is also importance of Edgar Dale and the cone of experience. Dale cone is one of the most important theoretical foundational of IT. The cone makes connection between concrete and abstract ideas, which is one of the main principles of teaching and learning. It also helps the professional to select media on the basis of the experiences aimed to transfer students. Next, the successful teaching excellence Dale's cone of experience. Dale's cone of experience that incorporates several theories related to instructional design and learning processes. During the 1960s, Edgar Dale theorized that learners retain more information by what they do as opposed to do what is heard, read, or observe. As my point of view, the Dale cones of experience provides teaching and learning models that allows teachers to understand to increase the retention rate of learners by involving the learner. This means that while the learner participate and get involved in the learning process by expression, they awaken the sensory organs.
For the continuation of Guide 9, Influences of Edgar Dale and the Cone Experience, my name is Marilyn de Blancaver, and we will tackle the Cone of Experience by the Edgar Dale. So there are the people who are influences the work of Edgar Dale Cone. First is Pestalozzi in 1746 to 1827, who is pioneered the concept of learning through activity. Second is Froebel, 1782 to 1852, who first promoted the principle that children have unique needs and capabilities. The last one is John Dewey, 1859 to 1952. Dale's work was most heavily influenced by him and stressed the importance of continuity of learning experience from school into the real world, and argued for a greater focus on higher order outcomes and meaningful learning. In 1946, the audiovisual methods in teaching that Dales expanded the concept of DUIS, which is continuity of learning through experience, by developing CON of experience, which is continuum and abstract audiovisual related. Thales regarded the cone as a visual analogy or the diagram that constitutes literal abstract meaning examples. So this is to show the progression of learning experience from concrete abstract that you can see later on in a figure 1. In 1969, it is the last edition of audio-based visual methods in teaching, whereas Dale integrated Bronner's 1966 three modes of learning experience, which is first, inactive or learning by doing. Second is iconic or teach or learning through observation. The last one is the symbolic experience, which is learning through abstraction. In 1969, Dales explained that the cone illustrated the importance of direct experience for effective communication and learning. So this is the representation of Edgar Cone's of experience. Verbal symbols. Visual symbols are symbolic experience or learning through abstraction, and recordings, radio and still pictures, motion pictures, educational television, exhibit, study trip, demonstration is belong to iconic experience or learning through observation, and dramatized experience and contrived experience, which is belong to direct purposeful experience. The pinnacle of the cone, from the direct purposeful experience to verbal symbols, the degree of abstraction gradually increases. The result was learners become spectators rather than participants. So the bottom of the cone represent purposeful direct experiences that is seen, handled, taste, touch, feel, and smell. And the top of the cone, which is verbal symbols and message, are highly abstract. They do not have physical ideas to the object or ideas.
Dale's cone of experience continues to influence instructional designers today in both theory and practice. For example, Balcal, Auburn, and Osborne built upon Dale's ideas in developing their multimedia cone of abstraction. So when we say multimedia cone of abstraction, it is the new hierarchy. It has the fewer primary levels than the cone of experience, but many more total levels because of multiple potential sub-levels. The purpose of multimedia cone of abstraction is to help instructional designers of educational content to select appropriate multimedia for each learning context. As noted, Dale's cone has been frequently misunderstood and misused. Dale's cone is often confounded with remembering cone or Bogus cone, which claims that learners will generally remember 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, 30% of what they see, 50% of what they hear and see, 70% of what they say, and 90% of what they both say and do. So in short, Edgar Dale theorized that learners retain more information by what they do as opposed to what is heard, read, and observed. Even though Dale did not mention the relationship between the level of the cone and a learner's level of recall, many practitioners mistakenly believe that the bogus remembering cone was Dale's work. A Google search reveals an astonishing number of attributions of the bogus cone to Edgar Dale. Molenda concludes that the so-called empirical evidence for the remembering cone appears to have been fabricated by petroleum industry trainers in 1960s. In addition to this confusion, the implications of Dale's cone have been misunderstood or misapplied. For example, Dale's cone has been used to maintain that more realistic and direct experience is always better. In other words, it is better to use realistic and direct experience when teaching. However, Dale in 1969 demurred, writing that too much reliance on concrete experience may actually obstruct the process of meaningful generalization. Also, Dale noted that providing realistic learning experiences may not be efficient in terms of cost, time, and efforts. Instead, Dale suggested that teachers should not balance combination of concrete and abstract learning experiences. So it is the best will be striking a balance between concrete and abstract, direct participation and symbolic expression for the learning that will continue throughout life.
Hi everyone, I am Regine Virgil. This is the continuation of Edgar Dale and a cone of experience, which is experiential learning environment. The experiential learning environments in another book can give the public what is for 1967 Dale related Dewey's influence on his ideas by writing As I Return to Democracy and Education, published by Dewey in 1916. Always find a new idea that I had not seen or adequately grasped before. Dale described learning as a fourfold organic process which consisted of needs, experiences, incorporation of experiences, and the use of them to promote permanent learning. Dale asserted that teachers should help students identify their needs for learning and set clearly defined learning goals related to their needs. Finding support that both virtual and face-to-face experiential learning are teaching techniques that can develop listening skills, but the interaction was the opposite of that originally predicted as a situation of face-to-face learning. Environments provided better results than virtual learning, experiential learning. Only when experiential learning techniques were used, but experiential learning environment in pandemic situation, virtual learning as it is a big help for teachers and students. To experience an event, to have true, to participate in it, to incorporate it, and to continue use it. To experience and to test, to try out, it means to be concerned participant, not a half-attentive observer. They believe that audiovisual material could help students learn from other first-hand experience or vicarious experience. They claim audiovisual materials furnish one especially effective way to extend the range of our vicarious experience. They concluded that audiovisual materials could provide a concrete basis for learning concepts, heighten students' motivation, encourage active participation, give need reinforcement, widen students' experiences, and improve the effectiveness of other materials.
Hi everyone, I am Arnal Binosa and this is the continuation of the experiential learning environment. Effective learning environments should be filled with rich and memorable experiences where students can see, hear, taste, and try. Dale 1969 articulated the characteristic of rich experiences. Students are immersed in and use their eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and hands to explore the experience. Students have a chance to discover new experiences and new awareness of them. Students have emotionally rewarding experiences that will motivate them for learning throughout their lives. Students have chances to practice their past experience and combine them to create new experience. Students have a sense of personal achievement and students can develop their own dynamic experience. The importance of experiential learning. Experiential education teaches students to examine their actions and their thought processes and even their emotional response.
Dale recommended that researchers should look at the effects of contribution of media in the environment where it will be used rather than the testing of a single indicated medium. The laboratory, by conducting research in real classroom, the varied combination of possible factors administer them. Learner characteristics and learner environment could be examined because learning occurs through dynamic among the learner, the context in the media. Although the experiential methods of educational and historical research were focused on testing the tenets of behavioration and pitting one's media against another throughout most of his career. Dale was present in his recognition that the complexities of learning and render most such as the studies fruitless.
The final remarks. Dale was much more than a scholar isolated in the ivory towers of academic. As described by Wager 1970, he is actively fought for better school, academic freedom, civil rights, and other causes long before these became popular issues. Dale was a socially responsible researcher, a thoughtful humanist, and dedicated educator. Any educational technology seeking inspiration for their work in our field would find a better role model than Edgar Dale.